Welcome to Bring Your Brilliance. Are you ready to find and amplify your voice? Looking to be inspired by those who are already out there making it happen? Listen in as we shine a light on those who bring their full, authentic selves to do what they love, make no apologies, and don't try to fit into other people's boxes. With your host, Carla Taylor, who, after years of being inspired by the brilliantly shining people she was meeting, decided others need to hear these stories too.
Welcome to the Bring Your Brilliance show. I am your host, Carla Taylor, and we are here on Inspired Choices Network. It is Friday morning, and we are bringing you an unforgettable show this morning, and it's actually all about what Juliet Herman, our guest, calls fitting out. And so our show today is about how to fit out and be unforgettable. So, have you ever worked hard to fit in and to be like everyone else? Do you know how to be unforgettable, especially with all the noise competing for attention online, especially right now? In this week's Bring Your Brilliance episode, I'm talking with Juliet Herman, Chief Executive Officer and Positioning Jedi of Learn what it means to fit out and be unforgettable at work, and especially right now online, where everyone is competing for attention. Being different increases visibility. How understanding your unique behaviors can become your superpower. Listen for her tips on how to transform standing out to make an impact on your business and your life. So a little bit more about Juliet. She's a global game changer, transforming leaders and teams to high performing with behavioral consulting. Juliet has had a wildly successful, award-winning 21-year corporate career and directing and managing global corporate strategy and brand development for up to $200 million brands in consumer product goods, technology, luxury, retail, telecommunications, and entertainment, reaching up to 700 million global strategies. MLB, and much, much more. Juliet is now the CEO and positioning Jedi of her own company, Fit Out Academy, and has over 32 and it is the best place to be, especially right now. It's the top business networking platform on the planet. She leverages uniqueness to create competitive plus engage equals evolve. She has revolutionized clients from pioneering innovators to Fortune 100 companies. Her at fitoutacademy@gmail.com. So welcome to the show, Juliet.
Hi, Carla. Thanks for having me.
I am so happy that you are here. Since a lot of people are figuring out their careers, and especially right now, a lot of people might be transitioning or pivoting. I love to talk about the career path that a lot of people go through. So if you wouldn't mind sharing, how did you get to this point? And then I'd love to hear a little bit more about what you're doing from that point on as well.
Sure. So I actually have a very diverse background, but starting from the beginning, I always felt that growing up that I never fit in. So even at school when I was quote unquote popular, if you will, I never felt I fit in. And then when I was, in my career and had success, I still didn't feel like it was enough. It didn't feel like I fit in no matter what anyone told me. Even when people would say, oh, you really fit in with this culture well. And I think, well, do I really? And so I went about just having a diverse background, everything revolved around marketing, branding, strategy, business development, and analysis, because I really wanted to see where I fit in. And I started off with in retail. I worked in financial services for Merrill Lynch. I mean, I've worked for really, really, really big corporations, Kraft, Procter & Gamble. I worked for Procter & Gamble, L'Oreal. And all along, I was trying to see where I fit and not quite feeling that I fit. And then I worked for startups. And really, the conclusion I came to after a very long history of working from everything from startups to very large companies is that I've always been happiest when I was entrepreneurial or intrapreneurial, if you will. When you're at a company, obviously, you're intrapreneurial. And so
right.
I set about to have my own little company, and it has morphed over the past couple of years, which is really, really exciting. And it just evolved to Fit Out Academy. But before I even called it Fit Out Academy, I came up with the 3E strategy. I realized I didn't have a name around it, but that's the way I always did business, which was embrace, engage, evolve. When you embrace, you understand what the problem is. You do a deep analysis, and then you take action steps to solve it, which is the engage stage, and then you involve, which means to achieve purposeful and profitable growth. And then that morphed into, this is the strategy behind the Fit Out Academy. And so that's where I am now. But what's really exciting is I continue to evolve. And I would encourage everyone that there's no such thing as being done. You just evolve with with how you're feeling. And now, to what you just said about the times, I think we all need to be agile. I mean, there are opportunities for all of us.
Yeah, no, and I totally agree with that. And, this is always great content and a great topic, but especially right now with what everyone is going through, and so many people are actually resisting a lot of what they're going through, and it's a big change and scary times, and so many things that people are even just trying to process what's happening.
Yes.
And now more than ever is the time to just embrace where we are, right? We can't change any of it. So embracing where we are is the first step. And then you can see what you can do from there, and you can see what you can do to engage and take action, like you said. And then, yes, all of us, whether we want to or not, are going to have to evolve right now, given the climate that we're in globally.
Yes, and I would also encourage everyone to stay calm when you are frenzied, which I get it. People are in fear mode. I live in New York City, and this is the epicenter of fear in the U.S. And I encourage everyone to just be calm. When you're calm, you can hear your thoughts. You can process what's happening to you. When you're not calm, it's you can't think straight. You just cling to those thoughts of fear. And there will be a tomorrow. And we all need to remember that no matter what we're going through, we are all going through this together. This is the first time in the history of any of us that are alive that the world has come together. It's really quite beautiful if you look at it from that perspective. So the world is coming together. So you are part of the world. No matter where you're from, no matter what you're going through, you are part of this world. So be in the world and just ask for help if you need it and offer support where you can. And that's my goal. And that's what I've actually recently pivoted to, is that I am, part of what I do is mindset. Part of what I do is just helping people with their mental health. And I'm finding that people are calling me a lot now, that they really want that support. And I am saying, I'm here for you. How can I help you? And really listening to them to see what they need. Don't just give someone what you think they need. Listen to them and figure out what they need and work with them to support them.
Well, I love everything that you just said. And here you are in the heart of New York City, which is the hotbed right now of everything that's happening, across the world right now. It's New York that's really heating up, and things are really, really, really scary in New York City. And here you are in the middle of all of that chaos all around you and fear. And like you said, this is a global situation where everyone on this planet is being affected by this. There's not anyone anywhere that's not in some way affected by this. And so you are doing your own embracing and engaging where it's needed, like you said, of you can't do any kind of evolving or higher level living until you feel calm and safe. And that's our most basic need. And so I love that you have recognized what is needed most, what you need, but what also all the people, like you said, are coming to you for, and you're able to shift and offer exactly that and get people to a place to breathe and feel calm and steady so they can then see what's available to them to take their next steps.
Absolutely. And I know that it's really hit home for me. I live in a building of nearly 1,000 people, and at least someone in my building was just diagnosed with it. And I am actually being there for people who are in the building, because I am really calm, and I'm trying to rationalize with everyone that unless you were going to stay, I live in an apartment building, so unless you were going to stay locked in your apartment, you cannot avoid living. We have to take the elevator together. There's no social distancing in an elevator when you live in such a big building. You can't wait. Mm-hmm. It's a sky rise. You're not going to walk up and down 35 stories. You're just not. So what I'm trying to tell people is there's this concept of social distancing, which is very important. People should take the precautions. More importantly, I feel is people should be social healing simultaneously. So what I'm concerned with is the long-term psychological ramifications, and that now is the time to come together and heal together. Start the healing when you're still in the midst of the fear. If you start the healing now, then it makes the healing process that much better. It makes it that much smoother. So I really encourage everyone to do that. We are all in this together. I just want to keep emphasizing that. Just like in life, I think that's what this was. This was a universal reset button for the whole world, for the whole world to get socially connected again, not just socially media connected where it's not a true connection, offline, reach out, talk to people, do video calls, whatever it may be, speak to your loved ones, speak to your friends. That's what, to me, beauty is in the world right now.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And that is, a massive wake-up call for all of us, too, with this, like you said, big reset button to look at what is the most important thing in our lives. When it matters most, what matters. And people are getting really, really clear on that. Even if they never thought about it before, they are now. And like you said, reaching out to the people that they love and reaching out in a very direct, real, authentic, communicating way. And I actually would love to explore more about what you just said. I want to dig into that a little bit more about starting the healing process while you're still in fear. And I know we're getting ready to take a break, but I want to start there when we come back from break. So again, my name is Carla Taylor. This is the Bring Your Brilliance radio show. We are here with Juliet Herman, and she is going to continue to share her incredible wisdom when we get back here on Inspired Choices Network.
Thank you.
We all have a personal brand. It's what people say about you when you're not in the room. What if you knew how to clearly and confidently communicate your value in a compelling way? Tune in to the Bring Your Brilliance radio show with personal branding and LinkedIn strategist Carla Taylor to discover the tools, resources, and inspiration you need to get started and keep growing. Are you ready to make your mark? Learn how to bring your brilliance by listening to the Bring Your Brilliance radio show every Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Mountain, and 7 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email become a host at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is the Bring Your Brilliance radio show with personal branding and LinkedIn strategist Carla Taylor. To join today's conversation, call in the U.S. at 815-880-8255 or Canada at 613-800-8736 or Skype at Inspired Choices Network. Or ask a question or send a comment by email at bringyourbrilliance@gmail.com. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back to the Bring Your Brilliance radio show. I am your host, Carla Taylor. We are talking here today on Inspired Choices Network with Juliet Herman, who is the Jedi. What was the title? The Jedi positioning.
Positioning Jedi.
Positioning Jedi. Yes, I knew I was flipping those words probably. So the CEO and Positioning Jedi of Fit Out Academy. And you were just saying before the break how important it is to start the healing process while you're still in fear. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about that.
Sure. So when we are in fear mode, our brain is just, we process around 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day. That's every human being, regardless of how you're feeling. When we are in fear mode, we can't even catch a thought, if you will. We're only catching the negative thoughts. We can't catch a positive thought because the negative thoughts are the ones that we feel comfortable with. You know, that expression, the devil you know. So it's really that, it's that incredible discomfort, but that's all you know. So you say, okay, I'm going to go to fear. Everyone around me is in fear. Those of us who are calm, and there are other people who are calm like me, realize that when you take a deep breath, it may be a lot of deep breaths, but you will eventually be able to hear even the smallest thought that's positive. I'm not saying to cling to it, but just observe it, notice it, and realize, okay, it's not all doom and gloom. And the more you focus on, because you can't control your thoughts, you could only focus on the thought. That's the choosing, if you will. You choose which thoughts to focus on. So if you are choosing to focus on the negative, frenzied, stressed out thoughts, you're going to attract more negative frenzy into your life. If you choose to focus on as many of the positive, calming thoughts as you can, you're going to attract more of that in your life. And that's how the social healing process begins. The healing begins because you say, I need to shift that balance. I am not functioning this way. So just like people are very concerned right now about their physical body, you need to be concerned with your mental health as well. And that's what I'm so concerned with, because physically we will heal long term. We will.
Yes. Yeah, no, and I am so aware of this, especially even in my own life right now with everything going on with coronavirus and the economy and everything else. But then I've also had additional challenges where my father actually just had open heart surgery this week. And it's so scary. He almost didn't get the surgery because of everything going on in the hospital. They weren't going to even let him have that, which of course was desperately needed. And then they fought to get him the surgery, but then it was obviously very scary. And then all the COVID-19 is coming to the hospital where he is. And it's just been pretty terrifying for him and for my family. And yet my father is such a great example of this. And, you know, he was a successful businessman throughout his career. And he has always taught me from a very young age that having that positive mental attitude and choosing those positive thoughts. And, you know, he even taught my kids when they were little and they'd come in and we stayed with him for a while and they would come in into eat breakfast and not necessarily in the best mood. He's like, this is the happy breakfast room and we're going to choose to be happy in this room. Like he just taught all of us how important it was to choose those positive thoughts. And so in the midst of all of that swirling around him, going into this incredibly scary surgery, he was such a leader of our family even then, and saying how positive he was that this was going to go well. He was looking forward to having a new lease on life on the other side of it. He was feeling so peaceful and calm. His face is so strong that it calmed the rest of us, you know.
Isn't that wonderful?
And it was such a great example of being calm in the face of fear. And now he's on the other side of it, and the surgery was a super success, and we're so grateful for his medical team. And he actually got up out of bed yesterday. The surgery was Tuesday, so like he is amazing, and he is so strong as an example of modeling the way, walking the talk, you know, of being positive and keeping steady there.
Well, I'm so glad. I know you and I spoke on Wednesday, so I'm so glad to hear that yesterday was very positive, because I know on Wednesday, you know, it was quite scary. So that is a great example. So thank goodness your father's healing. That is a great example of how people can be role models regardless of what's going on in their life. And that is, you mentioned the leader for the family. That's what a good leader is. A good leader, and you don't even need the position. The position's irrelevant, especially nowadays. The position is irrelevant because there are people who are very junior stepping up to the plate now. What it really entails is, what is your natural ability? I know myself. I've been in quite a few emergencies in my life, for better or worse. I just have. And what that made me is incredibly resilient. And so I know naturally, without thinking, in an emergency, I've always been the leader. I mean, car accidents, even when I've been in the car accident, I've been in mountain climbing accidents, all sorts of things, and I've been as hurt as everyone else. I don't really understand how I can't explain it other than to say it's natural, and that's when it kicks in for me, and I'm just able to be there for everyone else. So I would suggest that everyone follow your father's example and what I just described, and believe that you have that within you. And if you're still scared and you don't think you do, look for someone else that is leading the way and showing you that there is a way out. And this goes for every aspect of your life, because what I'm finding nowadays is everyone is planning for COVID. COVID is not permanent. We cannot function as a society. If this is permanent, you know, and we all want to believe it's Armageddon, then what's the point of living? I don't think any of us want to live in our homes permanently. So let's plan for the future. Let's plan for a time when life will not be back to normal. There will be a new normal. Let's embrace whatever comes and say, well, this is an exciting time. We're stepping into the unknown. We're doing it together. We're doing it collectively, globally, and let's redefine our lives. Let's redefine our careers. This is a great time to get out of those unhealthy relationships, to end relationships that you've had most of your life that you've never felt comfortable with, whoever it is. This is a great time to change the career that was draining you, to decide that you want to take online courses because you want to advance yourself, to take up a new hobby, whatever it is. You know, it's a great time to get close to your children. I know I have friends with some very young children. It's also a great time to figure out how to be alone when they're driving. I mean, I have a friend with a 2-year-old. So, you know, they're going crazy. Yeah. It's also a great time to say, okay, let's figure out how we can play together. We're in this house together, and then make space for yourself. So I really believe that this is the time that we are being forced to redefine ourselves. Honestly, that's the embrace portion, to genuinely go very deep inside and figure out who we really are, not who we've been told we are by other people, but who we really are.
Well, yes, and everybody I know right now is on some sort of really deep work, inner journey of healing and understanding, wow, like bumping up against those things that maybe we even thought were already healed. And I know I'm having the same experience, that I've bumped into some things that I didn't even know I still had in me, and it is causing some really deep transformational work within myself. And it's really, you know, what some people call a crucible moment of you know, like things really high pressure heating up and a change process that we're actually all collectively in the midst of. And, you know, how we behave, like you said, being that calm in the midst of chaos, or how we behave, no matter, like you said, any position that we might have in life, people look for the leaders of who's showing up and how they're showing up and how they're responding. And especially in times like this, you really see what people are made of, and you really see what your own, like you talked about relationships that change. Sometimes it's the relationship with yourself too. And that is, I think, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. That is really beautiful. That's what I was just going to say. The relationship with yourself is critical. So no matter how much we care about or love other people, until we heal the relationship that we have with ourselves and accept ourselves as perfectly imperfect, or what I like to call fabulously flawed, embrace your flaws. They're wonderful. They're what makes you uniquely you. They're what makes you fit out. When you figure out that what makes me fit out makes me special, not makes me distance from everyone, that is incredible. That is how you will make an impact in this world. And we all have inside of us an internal GPS, an inner wisdom. Listen to that guide. That's the guide that's going to tell you right now, these relationships are healthy, these are not. This job is healthy, this is not. This is a decision I should make, I should not make this decision. Just like when we open the refrigerator, we decide what we're going to make for dinner or what we want to eat, if we're eating healthy. Or if we're not eating healthy, why are we eating that unhealthy food? Well, think about the same with ourselves. What junk food are we putting in our mind? What are those toxic thoughts that we are feeding ourselves? Are we feeding ourselves that we're not enough? Are we telling ourselves that we lack confidence, that we have feelings of self-doubt, that other people are superior to ourselves? Why are we putting other people on a pedestal? We should be putting ourselves on a pedestal and then invite everyone else to join us on that pedestal. We are all special, yet we all have complementary skills and aspects and reasons that people are in our lives. So be on that pedestal, figure out what your special place is, and then bring everyone else that you want to on that pedestal with you.
That's a really big pedestal.
Yes, it is. There you go. That's a beautiful thing. That means you have a lot of people in your life that really nourish your soul. That's wonderful.
Yeah. Yes, and I just love so much about what you're saying. And when we fully stand in our own strengths, when we stand in our own brilliance, and we bring that brilliance with us everywhere we go, and we don't need that external validation that we've all, the human condition is we think we need it, but we actually don't, and we have it internally. And that is really the work of all of us, is to align with our highest self and to love ourselves, all of ourselves, not just getting rid of the faults or the shadow self is what some people call that, but actually embracing all of us, including our flaws, including our fears, including all of the ugly parts that we don't think are lovable. But when we actually can fully align and love our whole selves, we actually become so fully whole and brightly shining in knowing who we are, all the parts of us, that is what shows up in the world, and that is what really makes us stand out, or as you said, fit out and be unforgettable, because we can see clearly the people who are shining brightly, who shine a light on everyone around them too, which is the coolest part about it all.
Absolutely. And you just mentioned shadow self, which I love. If, in case anyone's wondering what that means, if you look into Carl Jung, in Jungian philosophy, it is the shadow self is exactly what you described, Carla, is the parts of us that we resist. And what we resist grows bigger. So the more we resist something, the more it becomes a bigger part of us. It's the parts that we are most scared of. So, for example, I'm not an angry person. I'm not naturally an angry person. I am human. That means there is anger in me. So it comes out very, very infrequently. But if I resist it, then it's really going to come out big when it comes out. So by embracing it and accepting, okay, yes, it may be very infrequent, but I feel anger arising. If I don't resist it, then if it does come out, it will be much tamer, and I will be able to get back to more of a sense of normalcy quicker. So it's accepting that we are everything, that everything exists within us. Now, it doesn't mean we're going to commit murder. I mean, I know there are people who get so enraged. I don't mean that. it does mean that we all have a certain amount of anger within us. We all have a certain amount of jealousy or whatever those sadness, whatever those negative emotions are. We all have them within us, and don't resist. I'm a very happy person. I also have the opposite in me. Even if I spend most of my time in the happiness space, I do have other times not in that. And that doesn't make me a bad person. It doesn't make me unhealthy. In fact, it makes me healthy to acknowledge that those other parts exist. So you're right. When we make space for all of us, all of our being, then we're able to really bring our brilliance to the world. We're able to really fit out and be who we really are instead of some manufactured version of what we think will attract people to us, which is actually a false persona that eventually we will get people will figure it out. They're not stupid. We can't be a false persona 24/7. At some point, we will slip up. So why not embrace yourself in its entirety and then fit out, bring your brilliance, and be your beautiful self?
I love all of that. And you're right. Like, we can so fully see the authenticity or not in other people. We really know if they're being authentic or if they're being a false version of themselves. And yet somehow we think that we're fooling everyone if we're being false, even about trying to pretend like we're better in a better place than we actually are. And we are just really not fully believing it and fully confident in whatever we're doing. And that's part of what I help people with, is to not just know what to say, but actually be confident in who they are. So when they do say it, it's with incredible fortitude and confidence, and people can see that, and that's what attracts people and resonates with people as they're bringing their brilliance to the world. And it's really interesting. I love actually how you and I are both weaving in the whole bring your brilliance fit out, because there is such a great fit, I think, between the two. And I don't know, I'm guessing this is part of what was deliberate for you, but I just had this aha moment as you were talking about, fitting in, standing out, or fitting out, or whatever. But I even just thought about how contracting versus expansion those words are. When we're trying to fit in, we're going inward, we're contracting. And when we're trying to fit out, we're going out into the world, and we're expanding ourselves and going beyond where we've been. And I don't know if that was all part of why you chose those words, but it feels very different to focus on fitting out and expanding and reaching out and giving what our gifts are to the people around us.
Yes, and that's beautifully put. And if you think about, we always say reach for the sky. Well, in order to reach for the sky, you need to expand. If you're reaching for the sky and you are being inauthentic, then you will never grasp it. You may touch it, but your hand will quickly slip. So if you really think about it, it's a stretch. So that's why they're called stretch goals. So your stretch goal in life is really to stretch within. Once you stretch within and you figure out, go very, very deep within, and you figure out who you really, really, really are and what that means, and that really deep dive and that very deep analysis. Go into the cave within, and then you will see the light and that aha moment of, okay, now I'm ready to go out and expand this out to the world and show the world who I really am. And it's irrelevant of your socioeconomic status, your race, your gender, your country of origin, your stage in life, your age. None of that matters. Absolutely none. Whether you think you've had a great career, whether you think you haven't, your education, none of that matters. We all have that ability. It is our birthright. It is our birthright to be who we were brought here to be. I genuinely believe that every human being on this planet has one purpose. And I call that our soul, S-O-L-E, and S-O-U-L purpose. And that soul purpose is to help each other to feel seen, heard, and understood. And when we do that, and to spread love, and when we do that, it means that we feel that way about ourselves, because every human being on this planet is connected. So if you walk around and you see yourself as connected to others, you will understand what your unique purpose is in this life, your unique skills, your unique behaviors are, and how to fit in not fit in, but how they work together in this collective to make everyone feel comforted and loved and seen, heard, and understood, then you are fitting out with purpose.
That's so beautiful. And
Thank
just
you.
really connecting from that place of our unique gifts, and the world needs them. Like, we are all uniquely gifted for a reason. We were given each of the gifts that we have for a reason, because it does connect and work together and interconnect and interrelate with everything else going on around us. And so when we're shrinking back from who we are, we're not serving the world. We're not helping the people that we were meant to help.
Absolutely. And the other thing I just want to remind everyone is there's such a divide in the world, which again is, in my mind, if people could bear with me, I'm a very compassionate person. For anyone listening, please don't think I'm not being compassionate. I am. My heart goes out to everyone. I also see the beauty in the reset. A reset is just a setup for a comeback. So let's look at that. The world has that button. Let's allow that reset button to be fully pressed, completed. Then we're getting in the setup stage, and then we're going to come back. So when we come back, let's remember that we are one race, the human race. Every human being on this planet is equal. We are all the same. Let's look at this as a rebirth. If that's too airy-fairy for people, just look at this as a new start, if that's more comfortable for you. But look at this as a new beginning, because every single day when you wake up, no matter how horrible the day before was, is a new beginning. There are new vistas. The sun's going to shine at some point again. The sun will rise. The sun will set. Look at that as the cycling of what you're going through in your life, even regardless of what's going around in the world. Just look at your own individual life. No matter what is happening, there is always another day. There's always another opportunity, and pull yourself up. And if you can't pull yourself up, then crawl. If you can't even crawl, then ask someone to crawl beside you until you are strong enough to walk. And so that's what I'm saying. Now is not the time. If you feel that you need help, please reach out. Feel free to reach out to me. I'm more than happy to help. Feel free to reach out to Carla. I'm sure Carla would be willing to help. I mean,
absolutely, for sure, yes.
Don't hide in your shell like a turtle. We are all going through this together, and guess what? We're all normal. We're all normal right now. Just don't feel like a freak of nature. You're normal. Yes,
and I think, yes, we don't want to hide, but I do think sometimes it's important also just to be still. And sometimes you can't even crawl, and you can just breathe. And maybe that's all you need. And you maybe can reach out for someone else to breathe with you. Or sometimes we have to have, and especially I'm an extrovert, and for those of us who have been extroverts in the world and used to going out and about and running around, and I don't force myself to get still very often. And that has been the biggest gift of what's been happening for me is that I recognized this is my time to be still. And it's interesting, too, because I've got a ton of people now, and I think a lot of us have all these people asking for all these meetings and all these online Zoom calls, and I'm actually having more calls and more busyness in a day if I let myself.
Yes.
But I'm seriously now protecting my stillness time, too, because there's so much value and beauty in what happens when we are still as well. And I actually want to ask you a couple questions about that when we get back from our break. And I also want both of us to share how people can reach us, because I do think there's a lot of people who need to reach out. So we are talking right now with Juliet Herman of Fit Out Academy, and I am Carla Taylor. This is the Bring Your Brilliance show. We are here on Inspired Choices Network, and we will be right back.
We all have a personal brand. It's what people say about you when you're not in the room. What if you knew how to clearly and confidently communicate your value in a compelling way? Tune in to the Bring Your Brilliance radio show with personal branding and LinkedIn strategist Carla Taylor to discover the tools, resources, and inspiration you need to get started and keep growing. Are you ready to make your mark? Learn how to bring your brilliance by listening to the Bring Your Brilliance radio show every Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Mountain, and 7 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Do you struggle to answer what do you do because you do many different things? Do you want your future clients to know, like, and trust you? Do you want to make LinkedIn work for you? If you're ready for extreme clarity and confidence with opportunities flooding your LinkedIn inbox, Carla Taylor's Bring Your Brilliance coaching, masterminds, and workshops give you the exact steps to get it done. Don't have time to do it yourself? Carla's LinkedIn content ghostwriting service is exactly what you need. Schedule your free consultation today at bringyourbrilliance.as.me or go to bringyourbrilliance.net.
This is the Bring Your Brilliance radio show with personal branding and LinkedIn strategist Carla Taylor. To join today's conversation, call in the U.S. at 815-880-8255 or Canada at 613-800-8736 or Skype at Inspired Choices Network. Or ask a question or send a comment by email at bringyourbrilliance@gmail.com. Now, back to the program.
Here we are back. This is Carla Taylor. I am your host of the Bring Your Brilliance radio show. We are talking today on Inspired Choices Network. And before we jump back into this incredible content that I am just enjoying so much with you, Juliet, I wanted to give us each a chance to talk a little bit about how people can find us. And so, again, with Bring Your Brilliance, you can reach out directly, even directly schedule on my calendar. It's bringyourbrilliance.as.me. And that is actually a link where you can connect a 15-minute phone call directly scheduled on my calendar through that bringyourbrilliance.as.me. And then you can also go to my website at bringyourbrilliance.net. Reach out to me directly if you want on LinkedIn. Carla J. Taylor is my LinkedIn handle, I guess. And then you can email me at bringyourbrilliance@gmail.com. But I am here, just like Juliet said, to help you. And especially right now, we have to come together and we have to realize that it's so important, more than ever before. If you haven't had career insurance, as I call it, and you haven't had a really strong personal brand, now is the time to have that authentic personal brand and be known for who you are, not just what you do, because what you do will change and grow and evolve and pivot. And no matter what situation you're in, that part will change. But the who you are doesn't. And getting known and even understanding and finding the words for your brilliance and then bringing them out to the world. And so that's what I'm getting ready to do right now. Actually, next week is I'm launching a 4-week intensive Bring Your Brilliance on LinkedIn Accelerator. The LinkedIn Brilliance Accelerator is what I'm calling it, where people can get really honed in, get really focused, really develop out their content, start having a bigger presence on this incredible networking program that's growing right now by leaps and bounds, even more than before, because everybody's online now. And so how do you connect in a meaningful way, and how do you get out there, and how do you get your voice out there? So that's what I'm going to be helping people with. Actually later today, from 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm having a free online working session Q&A for anybody who just wants to come and get some work done. Next week, I'm relaunching my 3-part series of workshops focused on your LinkedIn profile, your LinkedIn page, and your LinkedIn content. It's been wildly successful in person. Now I'm taking that virtually as well. So I've got resources, and it doesn't have to be about LinkedIn. If you just need to talk to someone, please feel free to reach out to me. I am here for you. It doesn't have to be about your brilliance. It can simply be about breathing. I'm here to hold space for you wherever you are. And Juliet, if you would please tell us more about how to reach you and what you've got coming up, we would love to hear that too.
Sure. So you can reach me at fitoutacademy.com. fitoutacademy@gmail.com, And I'm on LinkedIn, so it's Juliet, Juliet. My last name is Herman, the word her followed by the word man, so Herman. I typically publish content almost daily. I know in the past couple of weeks I've been so busy that it hasn't been daily, but I will be going back to daily starting next week. And I am very much here to help anyone who needs help. I know you mentioned breathing. I do everything including meditation with clients and relaxation exercises. I'm so sorry about that noise. And relaxation exercises. So, whatever my clients need, that's what I do. So I would love to help people. I know a lot of people are calling me just to help out. I'm starting some groups on really understanding what's going on, how people can deal with this, and how they can really just listen to their instincts and move forward in life.
Excellent. That is so, so wonderful. And I'm so grateful that you are being able to be such a resource, like you mentioned, even to the people in your building. I think you said there's like 1,000 people in your building, and just even right where we are is where we start with how we can help the people around us.
Absolutely.
So before the break, we were talking about kind of the in and out of our own selves and our own journey, and talking about how important it is to be out and outward focused and expanding, but at the same time, sometimes we do need to focus back in and I think that's one of the biggest themes a lot of people are recognizing too, is that a lot of us have depleted our own buckets and just simply kept pouring out and pouring out and pouring out and giving to others. And now we're also seeing maybe where we didn't take good enough care of ourselves. And so I'd love to hear your take on that. And,
Sure.
is it a constant back and forth, ebb and flow, or are there times where you reach different states, or how would you advise people about the way that works together?
Well, I think the beauty of life is that it's ever changing. So if you look at the analogy of water is flowing. So you want to, the expression, go with the flow. I mean, that is the best way to live in life. It means that things are going to happen to us, adverse circumstances, and if we resist them, they're going to get bigger. If we accept that this will happen, that life, no matter how much we cling to the joy, to the happiness, it will flow. It will, there will be times when it starts heading down, and that can be scary, and that can be very, very uncomfortable. Accept that you are human, and that is part of life, and that we need to get through the junk, the gunk, and explore that gunk in order to get out of it. So if you are stuck in quicksand, if you have what I call comfort in stagnation, then you're never going to grow. You've accepted that, I'm stagnant, but this isn't worse. So I'll accept this horrible situation because at least it's not any worse, and I've been in this situation for so long. You have to really explore it and say, okay, I'm done. I no longer want to be in this gunk. And so how can I get past the gunk, and how can I explore it, as scary as it may be, and walk through it to get to the other side? And that is the beauty in life. I mean, life is really beautiful when you just pat yourself on the back and you say, my goodness, I have progressed so much in my life. I am so proud of who I am, that everyone else in your life will feel the same way. And that is so incredibly beautiful, because no one can give us praise like we can. Nothing on the outside matters. Everything matters internally. And when we feel whole and calm and secure with who we are internally, then other people, we are teaching them how to treat us. We are teaching them what we feel about ourselves. And there's one caveat. Please, I am not saying that you should be an egomaniac. That you should not be. So there's a fine line between, do you know what I mean? There's a fine line between being an egomaniac and being secure in who you are. Egomaniacs are actually very insecure people that pretend that they're secure, but they're very insecure. So remember to have what I call a healthy balance of feeling proud of yourself without being so self-absorbed that you are wrapped up in your own greatness.
Yes, and when we fully know who we are and where we align and what we're meant to be doing and are focused outward on doing it, then there's no negative space. There's no room for doubt, because we're not doubting ourselves. And when we doubt ourselves, we actually cause others to doubt us as well. And I actually recently had this experience for myself because I was in this very confident place, and then something happened where I started to doubt myself. And even after all the work I've done and all the ways I help everyone else, I think that's the other thing, is that it's not a I'm there now forever place either. It is an up and down journey that sometimes we'll find other ways and other, what did you call it? I don't think you said it this way, but like the sludge of what's still in us that we need to get up and out. I don't remember the word you said, but like getting through the things, there's still layers and layers that we continue to move through in our lives. And so being strong and confident and fully where we are, and recognizing if we're not, and taking some time then to address that too.
Absolutely. I think were you referring to the quicksand analogy or the comfort in stagnation?
Probably both.
Okay. I mean, I would even add that we're like an onion, that if you peel a layer and you think, wow, this is great, this is who I am, keep going. I mean, you just want to,
right.
There are 5 whys that I use I didn't create it, but I love this. I love the 5 whys. When you are analyzing the problem, I call it acting like a toddler. So you keep acting like a toddler and saying, why? Well, you should do
right.
the same thing with yourself. So you peel back a layer and you say, yay, that's who I am. Well, keep going deeper, because I guarantee you throughout the course of your life, the deeper you get, the more comfortable you become in your own skin, and the more you're able to adapt to like the changing environment, because nothing in life is ever still. If you are just accepting that life will fix, this is permanently fixed, then you're absolutely going to be disappointed, because the only thing that is constant in life is change.
That's so true, and I'm reminded of the quote a friend of mine uses all the time as her favorite quote, that whoever remains the most flexible remains in control. And obviously it has to be this rigid, hard, controlling, grasping, but it's actually the flexibility and openness to what might be changing that allows us to have the most level of control. That is so great. Well, I know we're here almost at the end of the show, so I would love if you have, if there's one thing you want people to remember, or what's your final thought of wisdom that you want to share with our audience today.
Well, I would say just, follow the concept of figuring out how you fit out and what makes you you. Who are you? Don't ask anyone else. You can ask if you want, but don't let that sway your opinion. You need to make your own and do your own analysis. And, my tagline is don't fit in, fit out. Be proud of who you are. Be proud of how you fit out. There's only one of you in this entire world. There's only one person like you. There may be some people with some similar traits, but all of the combinations of your unique behaviors, which are something that you learn by the time you're 5, combined with your passions and your skills and your strengths, that's you. And that is absolutely beautiful. And so dream big and dare to succeed and embrace who you are.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And yes, fit out and bring your brilliance out to the world and truly be who you were meant to be and shine brightly from there. That is so, so good. Juliet, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you so much for being on this show. Again, this is Juliet Herman that we're talking to. And next week we will be back with another Bring Your Brilliance episode. We're actually going to have our first Friday strategy for success next week. And I will be sharing some more Bring Your Brilliance stuff to help you as you're on your journey to continue to bring your brilliance to the world and just shine fully in your gifts and allow them to shine that light on others. And like you said, Juliet, bring others on that pedestal with you. So again, thank you so much. We're here on Inspired Choices Network. Go out there and be bold and be brave and be beautiful and be brilliant and be you. That is absolutely what we want all of us.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Bring Your Brilliance with Carla Taylor. For the latest updates and info on personal branding, please follow and interact with Carla Taylor on LinkedIn. And be sure to visit www.itstimetoBringIt.com. Join Carla Taylor every Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Mountain and 7 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. Until then,